Welcome to the Creepin' It Real Show, your one-stop shop for weird news, spooky, and otherworldly and paranormal shenanigans. We'll take a dive into what's going on in creepy pop culture. You can follow Creepin' It Real Show on Twitter at creepin_it. You can email us at creepinitrealshow@gmail.com. You can also go to our website, creepinitrealshow.com. Without further ado, welcome to this week's episode.
Hello and welcome to the Creepin' It Real Show. I am one of your hosts, Moni, and it is my turn to pick what we're going to talk about. So today it will be the Truth or Dare movie. But before we get into that, I want to throw it over to my co-hosts and ask how they're doing. Mr. Yardley, how are you today?
Hey, I'm doing great. It's been a pretty good weekend here in Atlanta, and I'm excited to talk about the movie.
Nice. And Miss Kristi, what's going on with you?
Hey, I'm doing good. Great little weekend. I got my car booted for the first time ever Friday night, and that really sucked, and I don't recommend it to anybody, FYI. Just, especially when it's like 1 a.m. and you have 15-year-olds with you. I was taking them to a concert downtown, and I thought I was parking in a parking garage that you didn't have to pay the little meter thing, and I was wrong. And because they're I parked right next to a gate, and the gate was wide open. People were walking in and out of it, so I thought, oh, okay, cool. So I walk out. Little did I know that I had kept driving and driven past the elevators, there's a big kiosk there where you go and you pay for your parking and put your little ticket on the car. So epic fail, and I didn't get just one boot. I got 2 boots on my car.
You are not going anywhere.
Yeah, they wanted to make sure I was not going to take my wheel off and just, put a spare on and take off. So I was pissed. I was so pissed. And I was, I had a little purse, and I had my husband's credit card with me because he's like, hey, if you, buy anything downtown, put it on this card. And I'm like, okay. So that's the only card I took. Well, they wouldn't take it because it was not in my name. I lost my shit. I had to freak out on him, and he finally called the home office and they approved it. So it sucked. I was so upset. And I had Madeline and her boyfriend there, and he needed to be home by a certain time, but we were afraid to call because his parents were asleep. It was a fucking mess. So anyway, not recommended. Please double check all parking garages in major metropolitan areas and make sure that there's no little marquee somewhere. And they're like, well, there's a sign right there. Well, the sign was on the wall where I parked, but it was on the other side. And I'm like, well, how the hell? I would have had to have driven by. And when we got in, it was one of the first spaces, so we hadn't even really driven into the parking garage all the way yet. So, fuck that guy. Anyway, moving on.
Should have put the boot on his ass.
No, I wanted to. God, I was pissed. And he's used to dealing with assholes. So I was like, do I look like somebody? I have 2 15-year-olds with me. Do I really look like somebody that's I'm gonna buck the $10 and risk it? So that I have to pay $75 to get this fucking boot off my car? Do you really think that do I look like the type of person that would do that? And I've got 15-year-olds with me. And he's like, I don't know, lady. And I'm like, whatever. Just
nice.
Take my fucking credit card. I'm so pissed.
Husband's fucking credit card.
And the worst part is the freaking concert that we were going to. Madeline, my daughter, had already told her friends that we were going to this concert, even though we hadn't bought the tickets. So they all run out and buy tickets, and then they sold out, and we didn't have our tickets. So we had to pay double the ticket price, too, and the concert sucked. So we ended up paying $200 for a shitty concert, when you count in the boot that we had to put on, take off the car. So, yeah, I am not real happy about that.
So, sounds like you had a great time overall, is what I'm hearing.
I mean, it wasn't the worst thing in the world, but it was definitely, I don't recommend paying $200 for Young Gravy, the rapper. I'll just tell you that.
Oh, I feel like just saying Young Gravy, you had me not doing it there.
Yeah.
So,
anyway.
You have some upcoming horror news that makes me sad. You want to talk about Ash vs. Evil Dead?
Seriously, the end of an era right now, and maybe not. Maybe they'll somebody else will scoop it up. But Ash versus Evil is getting canceled off of Stars, and so I have to admit though, I watched the first 2 seasons. The last season I tried, and it just was not strong at all. And it makes me sad because I love the Evil Dead series, and I loved the beginning of Ash versus Evil. I love, God, now I've got to go back and look at my notes. What the hell is his name? Sam Raimi. Is it Sam? Yeah, Sam Raimi. I almost said Ray. I almost said Ray. I was like, no, that's not it. I love him, and I was just really happy that he got to reprise his role from decades ago, and they did such a great job with it at the beginning, and then it just went off. And
you're thinking about Bruce Campbell, right?
Yes, yeah.
Sorry, Sam Raimi is the writer.
Oh, I'm sorry. I knew that wasn't right. I'm like, who is that?
That's why the only reason I said I was like, who's the writer? And then you said reprise his role, and I was like, wait, I'm confused. Okay.
I've slept. I just woke up like 30 minutes ago, so I'm still kind of out of it. But anyway, Bruce Campbell. I saw a tweet on Twitter. Oh, it made me really sad. He's got a picture of himself, and it says Ash has left the building, and he was just so awesome and so thankful and so sweet about the cancellation. And it makes me sad because it is really the end of an era. It was, you just don't see a lot of movies like Evil Dead. You really don't. No. So it was a shame. I wish they had better writers and better, just something a little different. They tried to bring in like him having a daughter and all that, and it just was not working for me. So
I don't have Stars, but I've watched the first season and like a half. I need to catch up, but I've bought all of the episodes for the library so that I'd be able to see them. And I really have enjoyed this series a lot. Yeah. Yardley, have you seen any of these episodes?
I haven't seen any of these episodes, and mainly because, it was on Stars. I think my last interaction with that channel was with Black Sails. So I didn't have an opportunity, but I did read some of the articles about the cancellation. And, the Evil Dead has some pretty ride or die fans, but it was interesting to kind of see some of the fans were saying, based off of that last season, that maybe it was time. But then there's a lot who were, hanging on, trying to say that they wish that it would have continued.
Yeah, actually, I saw a tweet, Yardley, from Jen. You're right, the girl that is on your the Terror, your Terror podcast. And she was pretty bummed out too. I saw but she did also admit the last season was pretty bad. So I feel like it literally, I don't know. I'm hoping maybe they can figure something else out, maybe a new movie. I don't know. I don't know if we're just beating a dead horse and it just needs to go. Or if maybe there is some possibilities for something down the line. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either because, like I said, having seen the first season and a half of this series, I really liked the characters, and Lucy Lawless being in there was really fun. And, there's some true humor in here. And then there's, of course, all the gore that, fans have come to love, and all the campiness of the movies. I feel like they really recaptured it. And I don't know. So that's a bummer. But it also is a bummer that, it sounds like season 3 was not good. So if they're not going to write it well and do justice to it, they might as well cancel it.
Yeah, they were definitely not putting in their best effort. That's for sure.
Were there any other horror properties on Stars outside of, what else is
wondering,
Stars?
What has Stars got going on that they can't give another chance with better writing to a show like this? I'm like, dear Stars, why do you think you're too good for this?
Yeah, I don't know. I've been watching on Apple TV, so I haven't really been paying much attention to what else is on Stars, but I'm
looking. With the exception of Outlander, of course, is huge.
Yeah, that one's amazing. Yeah,
I'm looking at their website, and I'm like, I've never heard of any of this shit. Like, you could find some space for Ash versus Evil Dead, is what I'm saying here. So.
Well, yeah, granted. I think doesn't Stars have a little bit more leeway where they can show a little bit more
Crazy?
I don't want to.
Nudity?
Yeah, well, you know what? American Gods is on Stars, though.
Oh, yeah, it is. Yep.
I
That's a
love
good
that
one.
show.
That's a good show. Yeah.
As well. So,
Well, they're
uh,
showing such films as Jeepers Creepers 3, so you know they're doing quality shit.
But Moni,
hey, that's on Netflix too, though.
Moni's famous pick. We'll never let you get out of that one.
Oh, well, maybe we'll talk about today's pick, and that'll be great. I want to kind of fly through. I might skip the 10 Netflix horror movies, but there is an article floating around out there, if you guys are interested, from Forbes, that is the 10 horror movies that are so scary that viewers can't finish them. But the caveat to that is they're basing that off of people turning them off, and quite frankly, things like The Human Centipede 2, the argument is probably people are just turning them off because no one wants to finish watching that shit.
Yeah, but Moni, your famous Cabin Fever is number one. I guess that's Listerine. But that's not the Listerine on the dick one that we were talking about?
It's a remake, so I don't know. The remake, so I don't know if they do the Listerine on the dick, but they would be remiss if they didn't.
Well,
I would like to. I'm kind of curious about the remake, but then I'm seeing how low the ratings are, and I'm like, I love the original so much, and I'm not sure it needed a remake, so I'm not really feeling that very much.
I've seen 7 out of 10 of these, and I got to tell you that the 7 that I've seen, I had no problem getting through them. So I'm not quite sure why they think. I mean, teeth is not that scary.
Isn't that the vagina that has teeth? Okay.
Yeah.
That is pretty scary for guys, though. I mean, come on.
Well, but I mean, come on now. Let's be honest. Jerusalem, not scary. I would say Jerusalem. I mean, I didn't mind the movie, but I would say most people would turn it off because it's stupid. And they're saying it's because they got through 70% of the movie and then turned it off. Okay, that doesn't mean shit. I mean, you're watching something, and as long as it takes,
you want it to get better.
Yeah, as long as it takes to find a movie and research and look it up and play it, you want to invest yourself in it and give it a chance before you're finally like, no.
And sometimes it's like watching a train wreck. Like, is this really happening? Like, I don't want to finish this. It's 2 hours of my life I won't get back.
Exactly. And that's, speaking of, real quick, before you go into your other thing, yesterday I had my husband download Truth or Dare, totally legal, and me and my daughter started watching it, and I'm sitting here waiting for the characters that I've seen on the trailer to appear. I'm like, wow, this is quite a backstory they got going.
About this. Yeah.
And I'm watching, and I'm watching, and I'm watching, and I'm like, this is like the worst acting I've ever seen. Holy shit. Like, ratings weren't lying. This is a horrible movie. And then, like, I would say 30 minutes into it, my eye catches something on the corner of the screen, and it's like the faded out sci-fi movie logo, and I was like, shit. So then I get online and I look, and sure enough, there's a freaking 2017 made-for-TV movie of Truth or Dare that we ended up watching. Well, we watched like 95% of it, and then the download was so shitty that it ended before the movie even ended. And the movie was so bad that I just didn't even care to even watch the ending. So I ended up watching 2 Truth or Dare movies yesterday.
That's just dedication. That's really deep research. It's just so that you can be really well versed on everything that's ever been called Truth or Dare for the purposes of our
that's
podcast.
It. Yes. All I'm going to say is if my rating for Truth or Dare is a little better than yours, it's because I've truly seen the bottom of the barrel dumpster fire Truth or Dare. So I had I had a much more open expectation for the movie. I'm like, well, it can't be worse than this. So anyway, yeah, that was fun. Let me just tell you.
So ever since really we all had that discussion here on our podcast about the use of Ouija boards, since Kristi talked about it being such a bad experience that she heard about another, young lady, a teenager having, I thought it was a great idea to try it again. I'd been interested. And so I thought that a week when we were going to talk about possession and that kind of thing, would be a great week to experiment with a Ouija board again. So I roped some of my buddies into doing this with me. And I did do a little bit of research so that I could, try to avoid becoming possessed by a demon. Wasn't entirely sure if I believed that that could happen at any rate, but we did pick a historical location, and that location, it actually happens to be next door to a mortuary and across from a dialysis medical place. So, somewhere where a lot of death occurs, even up to today. And this place actually has a lot of old artifacts inside of it too. I know it's not the library that I work at, but somewhere nearby there. And I did this with 4 of my friends, and at least 2 were staunch skeptics. So I thought that was a good dynamic of basically having 2 people that weren't going to be as susceptible to, we heard a noise, that must be something. And I did take a little bit of time with one of these skeptics to go into the building and kind of listen to the sounds of the building. So, what does the air conditioner sound like when it comes on? What's the lighting like in there during different times of day? And so just kind of trying to weed out any of the variables in the most scientific way that we could in our kind of, little novice way. And so we did the Ouija board. We used a circular table because I had kind of researched that was the best way to keep everyone kind of even and equal. And we had the lights out, and we had tried to kind of drown out ambient lighting. We started recording some audio and some video prior to us starting the actual seance portion, because we wanted to just kind of get a baseline again of what sounds and lights were like in there before we started. And, I have to say that my biggest fear was that nothing was going to happen, and really not much did. So one of my friends who did this with us was Katie, who was on this podcast as a guest before. And she is a believer, and she was the only one. It was funny, when all of us would touch the planchette, nothing would happen. And then when just her and I would do it, it would start to move. Now, there is something, and I didn't talk to that group about it prior because I didn't want to influence anybody, but there's something that I am aware of. Maybe you guys have tried it. Well, have either of you guys heard of light as a feather, stiff as a board, like when you were a teenager, maybe? Yeah.
Yeah. Play it all the time. Yep.
Okay.
I've heard of it.
So there's that. And then there's also, if you were to take a piece of string, just any like little small piece of string, and tie it to something like a paper clip. And then you were to put the string between your thumb and your pointer finger and brace your elbow like on a table so that you wouldn't be, wiggling. You would be supported, and hold on to the string so that the paper clip was swinging freely, not to be impeded by anything. You could actually control which direction the paper clip goes in by the strength of your mind to the pulses in your thumb and finger would actually cause the paper clip to go in different directions. So a little trick you can play on people is you can say whatever you want. You can say it's a ghost, or you can say you have mind control. But what you do is you tell people, which way do you want me to make this paper clip go? Or which way do you want the ghost to make the paper clip go? And you can make it go in circles. You can make it go left to right. You can make it stop. And that's just something that's a body brain kind of energy thing that happens. That's natural to humans. It's not a ghost. So I really think that my friend, being such a believer, and I haven't talked to her about this, but I think it was her energy making that thing move. That thing was definitely moving, because we barely were touching it. And definitely anytime that we would ask if it had something particular it would want to say to us, it would go straight to the no. But then it would just start going to different random letters, and they didn't spell anything. We didn't catch any strange lights. We didn't catch any kind of voices that we heard in the background after the fact. And honestly, if there could have been any location that had spirits that might have wanted to communicate, if they had the energy to do so, that would have been the location. So granted, we're all novices at it, but I would say that was not, it was maybe successful in a scientific way, and that we definitely didn't do any of the ghost hunter. Oh, did you hear that? Oh God, what was that? But nothing really happened. So I'm kind of interested to try something again and maybe go about it a few different ways. But just wanted to share my experience with the Ouija board this week and the strength of the human mind in convincing us sometimes that these things are real when they still could be, but in this case, I don't think they were. So,
yeah. I think sometimes when we talk about Ouija boards, I think that the danger that comes with them is repetitive use. I mean, I could see like very rarely you use one and something could, just one time and experience something. But I think a lot of times for Ouija boards, it's kind of a crapshoot, and it can be, unless you've got like a medium or somebody there, like like a magnet drawing it, you're not always going to get an experience. That's just my.
No, it's true, but it was funny too, though. I'm kind of like sensitive to living humans and their emotions in my real life. Mm-hmm. And it was weird. I would touch, like if I put my hand on Katie's arm while she was experiencing, having the planchette move for her, I could feel she felt like electrified. It was really strange. Mm-hmm. So again, I still think that was kind of the strength of her like belief kind of flowing through everything. But man, that was a weird experience too.
Yeah.
So I thought this movie, they started with a Ouija board. That was kind of why this went along with the theme, but not quite. But there's a lot going on with this film. So let's go ahead and jump into that. So Truth or Dare opens, the 2018 version of Truth or Dare in theaters now, opens with a young woman whose name was Giselle at a Mexico gas station. And suddenly the clerk gets that creepy CG smile that we've talked about on this podcast before from the trailer and says Truth or Dare. And this Giselle woman ends up lighting another lady on fire where she stood. So this opener, Mr. Yardley, did you think the opener was intriguing, or was it something you'd seen before?
Not really anything that I'd seen before, but I thought it was okay. I would probably envision you or Kristi bum rushing that girl before they could light you on fire.
Yeah,
but, yeah. Outside of her just sitting there getting the liquid sprayed all over her, just saying no, that was kind of crazy. But it definitely, kind of shows you what you're in for going forward.
Yeah, this movie pulls no punches when it comes to violent deaths, for sure. So then Olivia, played by Lucy Hale, who's freaking gorgeous. Oh my God, you guys.
She is, seriously.
I tell you what, too, even if you didn't like this movie, which we'll get to obviously at the end, but man, these are some of the hottest actors overall. The whole cast is just gorgeous.
Well, I also thought, and I haven't even looked it up, so you're going to have to excuse me, but the one that drank a lot, that girl, I thought she was gorgeous,
Penelope was the character's name.
Yeah, who is that? Let me look her up really quick. She was, I was just like staring at her.
Sophia Ali?
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah.
She's gorgeous. Gorgeous. So, and now I'm looking at like really like still photos of her, and she's even more beautiful in these photos.
And she's not drunk and swinging from a... Yeah. So we meet the main character, Olivia, and she's making a video for her YouTube channel, which comes into play later. And her friend Marky comes in. Violet Bean is the actress, and she's really hot too, and talks her into going to Mexico with her friends. So we get to meet all the dumb little buddies, kind of Texas Chainsaw Massacre, like we're going to go on a road trip and we're all going to die. And so cut to Mexico, their last night, they're dancing at a bar. Olivia's getting hit on by this asshole named Ronnie. And this guy Carter is like, you don't need to be bothering this girl. And so eventually this Ronnie dude leaves, or so we think. And this Carter guy, who they've just met, convinces Olivia to go hiking to a nearby mission. So I wanted to hear from you guys. Would you go hiking to a mission with a random person that you met in Mexico?
Hell no.
No, that's got kidnapping written all over it.
Seriously, like, haven't they seen these, like, what are those stories about sex trafficking and shit? I mean, give me a break.
Well, that's how Gringo gets scalped in some kind of cartel drug related fucking takedown. Like, that's not okay.
No.
But, kids are dumb, I guess. And if they hadn't done this, we would have no movie. So they go up to this old mission, which I was just watching something from the director, and he was saying that whole thing was CG, which was kind of interesting. There was no mission, nor did they even build a set, really. And they're playing Truth or Dare, like you fucking do when you're in the middle of nowhere. I guess, though, I played Ouija board when I was in a historical building, so whatever. But they're playing, and it's kind of silly. And then one of them asks if they know that Olivia is in love with Marky's boyfriend, who I think is Lucas. He's super cute too. Those dimples, goddamn. And so that's, awkward. And then comes into play later. And then that Penelope chick asks this Carter guy that they just met. There's so many fucking characters. No wonder people had to die. But anyway, what his intentions are with Olivia. And he, as we saw in the trailer, says, like, I just needed someone who was an easy mark and who had lots of friends who can die. So what would you be thinking, Yardley? What are you thinking when you hear this guy say this?
Yeah, that's definitely, well, it's definitely out of left field. So it caught us off guard as viewers, just like it caught, Olivia off guard. But I think in that moment, they already had, that's right, they had started the game so that they were already locked into it. But yeah, I don't know about the letting the guy, walk out, but I did think that it was kind of cool that once he told her that, she turns around and everyone's gone, and then she sort of, blinks her eyes, and then they're standing there. So it was kind of cool to see Olivia get her first taste of people thinking that she's crazy because she's seeing things.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, also, which kind of comes into play later, is Olivia gets asked if all her friends die. Would she choose all her friends dying or like the whole country of Mexico dying?
Yeah.
And she chose, of course, the whole country of Mexico because it's the right thing to do, because she's kind of a goody-goody and always kind of does
You mean
the right
vice
thing.
versa? She chose her friends dying.
Yes, I'm sorry. That's what I meant. She chose Mexico to live and her friends to die, and her, including herself, as her truth, as, when the game gets started. And the guy who drug him there was like, you have to tell the truth. And I'm assuming at the time that was true because she didn't die. So I don't know. But I thought that was an interesting.
Yeah. Well, it was good because it parallels exactly what happens at the end, like the decision that she made in this moment, and then at the end, it's like the opposite.
Yeah, I went with my daughter, which we'll get to the end, of course, later, but I went with my daughter to watch it, and, she's 15, and it took her a little bit to understand. She's like, oh, like way after the movie, oh, it's kind of ironic, oh, like it finally, like, she got it, that part at the end. Oh, that's so crazy. I was like, you're just now getting that? Oh, boy. Poor thing. But anyway, yeah, I thought that was something worth mentioning.
I would have to say that it probably would be easy to kind of forget that, though, by the end of the movie.
Yeah,
There's a lot going on in this movie. Like,
oh, totally.
For kind of a small teenagers or 20-somethings getting killed film, there's a lot of story, which I actually have questions for you guys about as we go forward. So they go back to, the States, and Olivia starts seeing all kinds of weird shit, and she gets to the library, and all of a sudden everybody's got those creepy ass smiles. What'd you guys think about the smiles? Were they working for you? Were they scary? I mean,
they did. They worked for me. I mean, I thought it was creepy, but I think by the time the movie's over, like, as far as the creepy, that's about all they had, though.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It wasn't really much more than much more than that. But I thought that it was effective.
Yeah. Kristi, did it freak you out at all? The smile?
Yeah, I mean, I went into the movie thinking that was pretty creepy, just judging by the trailer. And I remember we had talked about this before, and that was why we were all kind of excited about the movie, because that was an interesting way, it was just an interesting addition to the movie. And for Truth or Dare, I mean, the faces, like, that's how you know they're possessed, and it was pretty damn creepy. Yeah, I have to say so.
So everybody's got those creepy smiles in the library, and they all start chanting Truth or Dare. And so she picks Truth, and they ask to reveal what secret she's been keeping. And she screams to the whole library that her best friend Marky has constantly been cheating on that cutie guy Lucas. And I fucking hate it when you're in the library and everybody starts chanting Truth or Dare at you, and it forces you to scream out something that you didn't mean to say. I mean, I had this lady this week say that if I touched her shit, she was going to kick my fucking ass. But I'm pretty sure she wasn't looking at me when she said it, so I'm pretty sure she was just being, possessed by, like, the Truth or Dare demon. I'm pretty sure that's what was happening there. So I hate that. So I totally get it. But, and, she tries to tell Marky, like, oh, all these weirdos made me do it, which, nobody else can see this, is what we come to find. And Marky's like, I'm going to break your hand. So you cool with this, or are you believing, if you are Marky or anybody else who saw this, are you believing Olivia? Are you with Marky on the hand breaking? How are we feeling right now?
I mean, I would have been like Marky at the time. Because of course we can't, we're seeing stuff that Marky doesn't see, but if I was Marky, yeah, I would think, because it's already been inserted into her head, from another friend, that Olivia's in love with her boyfriend. So that seems like an interesting but effective way to get her hands on her dude.
Yeah, and also that playing that angle made it slightly easier for her to break her hand.
Yeah. Yeah.
But at the end of the day, though, I look at it as Marky was in the wrong about a lot of stuff, and then it ended up almost like she was trying to turn it around on everybody else. But she had a lot of the reasons things were the way that they were was because she was, like, cheating on the dude. Because remember, we saw the party and she was grinding on some dude behind his back, and I was like, and she had to save her. So I'm like,
and that was definitely wasn't the first time she's had to pull her out of these situations either. So you could tell just based on her interaction with pulling her away and going, what the hell are you doing? And so, yeah, I mean, it was definitely not a lie or sinister in any way, but it was probably, as her friend, doing that not just to her boyfriend but to the entire library was probably not the way to go as far as what Marky was thinking, Which I keep saying marquee, like a marquee, and then I know it's Marky, but I keep calling her Marquee.
She's like why. Advertising shit.
Yeah, I'm like, what an interesting name. Oh, Marky.
I feel like Olivia put it on the marquee, though.
Yeah, she sure did.
So then they're at another bar because they're in their 20s and that's what they do. And this Ronnie dude, who was the kind of the asshole of the group, kind of the pervert, he's trying to hit on this other student, and she's like, nope. And then all of a sudden she gets the creepy smile, and she's like, Truth or Dare? And she's like, show your penis off. And he's like, cool, all right, because I don't know, that's what you do when you're 20, I guess. And so he gets up on a pool table, which apparently is not good enough to show your penis just standing in the bar. You have to stand up and get like a platform and really show that thing off. So at the last minute, he gets kind of insecure about it and decides not to do it. And as a result, slips on a pool ball and ends up like falling and breaking his neck and is like instantly killed.
So here's what I thought was really funny about this part is, he's got the crazy face, his face turns into the crazy, and he's like walking over to like impale himself on the cue stick, and you get that guy going, yo, bro, be careful, man.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, shit. foiled. He was like, oh, I'm foiled. So he turns around and slips on the ball. But I just thought that was so funny because he's like, oh, I'm going to impale myself on this stick. And the guy's like,
kind of like a cartoon,
hey,
but yeah.
Hey, bro, be careful, man. You almost hurt yourself. It's funny.
Yardley, have you seen Final Destination?
Yeah, I saw the first one.
You saw the first one. So did this remind you of that at all, or was this a whole different?
Well, you kind of mentioned that you were thinking along the lines of it reminded you of Final Destination. I can definitely see the similarities, and I thought that it was funny. I thought that he was going to go on the stick as well, but I thought it was kind of cool. But I wasn't necessarily sad to see the guy go because he's a character that I think that they put a little bit too much on to be like everything that he said was like sex related or something like that. I'm like, really? Like that was his whole shtick. So by the time that, he broke his neck, I was like, oh, cool. But I mean, there was something about him though, that I think that they could have made him a little bit of a, not just a one-dimensional character. I mean, I don't know. He had potential, but I wasn't mad when he was gone.
Nah, and he died the way he lived, trying to show somebody his penis. So, of course, the other friends end up seeing it on video because social media and cell phones and blah, blah. And so Olivia's like trying to convince them that the game is real. No one believes her. And Cutie Lucas leaves and he's like, fuck this. And he's like out of here. But then he like hears voices calling him. He starts seeing stuff. And all of a sudden the words truth or dare get burned into his skin. So he comes back and he's like, okay, I think I believe Olivia now. And the group, there's so much that goes on in this movie. Jesus, I'm trying to just like summarize for you guys. But they kind of figure out that the game might be real and also that it's going in the order that they played when they were up at the mission. So it's Marky's turn and she gets a text. She picks Dare. She's dared to go through with her promise of breaking Olivia's hand. And after some back and forth, she does. So they go to the hospital. And in the meantime, there's another guy who we haven't even talked about, Brad, who's kind of like, I feel like he was just kind of there to be killed in this movie.
He's a dick.
Yeah, he's Penelope's boyfriend, and he's studying to be a doctor, and there's been some back and forth with him and Olivia about him giving out prescription medications. So, of course, he picks Truth, and he's in the middle of his one of his doctorate, his candidate things for his MD, I guess.
Pre-med. And he was trying to get into pre-med school, yeah.
Yeah, and the interviewer ends up getting the creepy face and is like, are you giving out prescriptions to people? Are you writing fake prescriptions? And he's like, no. So, of course, because he's lied, it leads him to stick a pen through his eyeball, which I'm sure Kristi loved. And then slam his head into, like, the door somehow, just as his friends are running up and they kind of, like, catch the end of this happening. So, did we love this eyeball scene, Kristi? Was this your favorite thing ever?
Yeah, no, I was not a fan of that. And then, yeah, when he's like, bad enough that he poked it in his eyeball, but then he's like, well, I'm still not dead. So he walks over to the wall and just basically bashes his head in the wall to make the pin go in deeper. And I was like, thought the worst was over. So I was like, oh, no, he stuck a pin in his eye. Oh, that sucked. And then I was like, okay, well, I'm safe now. But no, I was not safe. He then turned around and like slammed it into his brain. So that was... yeah, no.
So both of you, were people in your theaters screaming or anything? Like, how were they reacting? Do you remember?
Nobody.
And there were a few, like, I mean, there were some extra, so to speak, people that were behind me, and a couple of them. I mean, they were reacting to a lot of the things that happened in the movie. But concerning the pin, like, would that really kill you? Because there's bone behind your eye socket, right? I'm just wondering if that would. I don't think that right behind your eye is your brain. I think there's bone behind.
There's a very thin layer of bone right there, but not very thick, not like your skull. So yeah, because your eye sockets are directly attached to your brain. So like there's a very thin membrane there, but not enough for any. A pin would definitely get through it. Let's just say that.
Okay, well, especially with they made sure that with that last headbutt on the door. Yeah, that was pretty. That was pretty effective. I think that this movie would have really benefited from an R rating because they had some pretty good, dares or whatever, but some of them needed to be a little bit more visually pleasing than what we got. I think it would have helped a lot.
Not this
part.
God,
it is PG-13. Yeah. I thought they had an R rating, but now you're correct. And Jesus, what world do we live in that a 13-year-old should be seeing this shit? That's a whole other can of worms. But I'm like, I just assumed it was R, but I did notice they weren't swearing ever, which I was like, that's weird. They have all this crazy violence, but they're not, dropping any F-bombs. So that would be wise because, America, you can have all the violence that you could ever want, but no sex and no swearing because that'll hurt people.
Yeah. It's ridiculous.
Anyway, no, you're right. That would have definitely benefited from an R rating because you could have made a movie where people could react the way people would react when someone gets shot in the head in front of you or something.
Yeah.
So cut to Penelope's turn. She's the one who's always drinking, and so it dares her to... she finds out, she picks truth, and it says it's not how it works. So we're finding out that you can't just pick what you want. You can't just always pick truth and not have to be dared. So she has to do a dare, and it tells her to go walk along the edge of the roof and keep drinking a bottle of some alcohol, I forget. But you can't. Yeah, and you can't stop. If you walk, you die, and if you stop walking, you die, and whatever. So you stop drinking, you die. So you have to finish drinking while still walking. So she's doing this, and her friends go and grab like a mattress, and they're running back and forth. And of course, though, she gets to the point on the roof where there's a gate that has those sharp, like she would have been impaled if she fell. Are we liking the suspense in this scene at all?
I guess that was almost one of the ones I was like, well, obviously we saw her throw up or whatever, so she wasn't like disqualified for puking. I think I would have taken this one.
Yeah.
The drinking, I would have tried it. I mean, it wasn't like she immediately died because she didn't keep it all down, but I think that she probably should have been a little bit more injured as we go along, though.
Yeah. Kristi, were you freaked out in this scene? Like, were you kind of uncomfortable at all, or were you just like, we're over this character and whatever?
No, I mean, I thought it was good. I think that if she had actually fallen on the gate, I would have been like, oh, brother, because you don't want her to, but you think in your mind that that's what's going to happen because that's, they're basically alluding to it. And so I thought it was good that she didn't. I mean, it was like, it was kind of suspenseful and, oh gosh, if she had actually fallen, I would have been like, really? Could we have made it a little bit more, change it up a little bit than the normal horror movie style? So they did that. So I thought, and then you're just like waiting for her to die. Like, wait a minute, what happened? She didn't how else would she die? So it was good that they changed it up a little bit, I thought.
Yeah, I think it gave a little bit of hope in the middle of this because we're watching everybody die. And I was genuinely uncomfortable in the good way. Like, it's not that I cared so much about her character, but it was just like, oh my God, she's so going to fall. And then, of course, they're like, maybe she's not going to fall. And then you see the fence and you're like, of course she's going to fall and it's going to be super bad. And, so it was kind of cool that they didn't do that because they so easily could have. And so she's safe for at least for now. And they find this Giselle chick who was the one who set the lady on fire in Mexico in the very beginning through some fake Facebook accounts. But when they're talking to her, when they meet up with her, she kind of doesn't seem to know who a Carter is. And then she gets dared to shoot Olivia, but Penelope jumps in front of the bullet and ends up getting killed. And because she has failed to shoot Olivia, Giselle ends up having to shoot herself in the head, so she dies. So the kids now do something which I thought was kind of smart. Well, they don't have much choice because all these people have been dying, like, in public. But they end up going to the police, which I think was kind of a actually smart move. Like, is this what you guys would have done at this point?
Hey, I mean, but Well, after the shooting, all of that, wasn't that something that was going to have to happen?
Yeah, they didn't really have a choice.
In horror movies, though, they always manage to just, I don't know, like run away or I don't know what, avoid the police.
However, just put it out there. I mean, I don't see how that could not help. But, because who knows? If all of them ended up dying, maybe that would lead to them. Well, I don't think they could ever figure out why, but I don't know. But I don't think that it's a bad thing for her to just actually tell the truth, because sometimes the truth is so crazy that they probably don't end up believing you anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and then they decided to tell the police everything with the exception of the paranormal stuff, but thought that was kind of just about who they met and, how they led down this bad path. Which I thought was actually kind of a sensible choice in a horror movie, which was refreshing. And Olivia gets shown pictures of Giselle's friends, but she doesn't recognize any of them because she's looking for this Carter guy, of course, because she wants to go talk to him. And it becomes her turn in the Truth or Dare. She picks Dare and is forced to sleep with Lucas, which is not much of a burden for her. Mm-hmm. And of course, Marky gets pissed off, and it makes Marky storm off in a huff. And she admits to Lucas that she picked Dare because there's a secret she's been hiding and she doesn't want to tell Marky, so she doesn't want to pick Truth. So she and Lucas start to have sex, but then all of a sudden Lucas's turn comes up in the middle of it and picks Truth and has to admit that he really only loves Marky. And so, of course, he blurts that out while they're having sex. And so Olivia's like, fuck this, and leaves.
Well, meanwhile, okay, let me ask you a question really quick on that. Sorry. Now, if you're having sex with a chick and her face turns into that, I would think it was probably over that at that point.
Yeah.
Do you think his soldier was going to be at full attention by after that?
I was wondering that too. I was just like, wow, go for it, dude.
What do you think, Yardley?
Well, at least for me, I would say negative. But let me ask either of you this question, and I'm trying to look this up now, but I'm wondering if y'all know. There's a show that's on Netflix. It's like the reboot for Lost in Space.
Oh yeah, and Lost in Space.
But is that guy? What's his name? The guy who Olivia was having sex with,
Lucas.
Isn't he in that Lost in Space as well?
Let me see.
Well, that's easily.
I saw the first
I didn't want to throw everybody off, but I was just curious because I was watching it last night and I was like,
Tyler Posey.
Tyler Posey.
I don't see it on here.
Okay,
Lost is the name of it Lost in Space?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, there's a guy who looks just like him. He might be a little bit older, but the reason why it was fresh in my mind is I didn't even watch Truth or Dare until about 8 o'clock last night, and then I ended up watching Lost in Space after it, and they looked pretty familiar. I didn't mean to throw it off, but
no, that's good. Let's see. I'm just looking for. Are you talking about Ignacio Sorrentino, Don West, the character Don West? Because they do look alike, actually. Yep.
Okay, so I guess they're not the same guy.
They're not the same, but they do look very similar.
P.S. The first episode of Lost in Space, Yardley, yes, you liked or not liked, just out of curiosity?
After the first episode, I didn't really know what to make about it. I think I'm on episode 7 now.
Oh wow!
But it's I don't know. It's definitely geared more towards the kid folk.
Okay.
Yeah, I liked the first episode quite a bit, and then I saw the second episode, and I was like, "This is a kids show."
Yeah, but I mean, yeah. And look, the Lost in Space that I grew up with was the one from the 60s that was in syndication, and it's not like that was super awesome either. So I don't want to.
True.
I'm not necessarily dissing this. I mean, it's okay. I just figured that they would have a little bit more of a daring take on it.
Yeah, and the first episode I thought they would. But granted, I saw the first episode at WonderCon. It was just kind of cool conditions to see it. So maybe, I saw the panel, I saw the actors, the adult actors. It just seemed like it was going to be something that it isn't. But anyways, we digress. So Marky's off by herself because her boyfriend's, I don't know, dared to fuck another chick.
Hey, when that happens.
Yeah, although she's been cheating this whole time, but let's not
How's
throw
that
shade. And where the fuck was I? Ugh. she sees a video. She's watching a video of her dad, and of course, her dad turns into a demon in the video, as he will.
Hate when that happens.
Yeah, she picks, and it says like truth or dare, and picks truth, and the demon asks why you keep the gun that the dad killed himself with, and she's like, oh, it's because sometimes I think about using it on myself. And I was like, wow, I know this is a movie about like 20-somethings killing themselves over a truth or dare game, but that just got really dark. So anyway, the rest of the friends are at Brad's house, and they're talking. Oh, Brad is another character who we haven't even talked about. He's an Asian American guy who happens to be gay, whose father is a cop and is super homophobic. So he had been dared to, or truth, and he had to tell his father the truth about himself. But as he's outside talking to his dad, he gets dared to take his dad's gun, service weapon, and make him beg for his life. Well, his dad is like, what's this about? And why are you doing this? Instead of begging for his life, he's like, Dad, I'll explain later. Just beg for your life. Well, instead, the cop's partner sees this going down and ends up shooting Brad. So Brad's dead. So that's the long and short of poor Brad.
Well, do we know that he's dead?
Yeah,
because his dad was just holding him, or what happened? Did he lay him down and he was?
Yeah, he did the whole death, like,
my son, why does this have to happen? Get help.
And Brad did the kind of thing that they do in movies when you die, where he kind of looked the other way and did the little sigh.
Oh, really? I just, for some reason, I don't remember that. The last part that I remember was him kind of like, when he first got shot, he kind of was holding him.
Yeah.
Like by his shoulder or whatever.
Yeah.
And then, or maybe I was laughing or something. I don't know.
The one thing I have to say about this movie that I give kudos to is I think they did good with the character development. Like, I really kind of felt sad when these people died. It wasn't just whatever, I mean, some of them were assholes, and you're like, I'm glad you're gone because I literally think you're a dick. But the ones that were the good ones that were still flawed, and everybody's got their shit, But I thought they did really. I mean, that for the movie and the ratings it's got, I was impressed with that part of it, because every time, like when Penelope died, and I was really attached to Brad, I really liked him, and when he died, I was like, damn. And the way he went out was so sad. That hit me. I was really sad for him.
Oh, I was in the theater going like, just beg, Dad, just say please don't kill me. That's all you have to say.
And even at that point, even his dad, that relationship. I mean, his dad, even though he was quote unquote homophobic, he's a cop, he's a tough guy, but he was sitting there and just like, is this because because he was a homophobic, but now his son's gay and he still loves his son and he's still there for his son, and it was such a sad, heart-wrenching moment, and I was really my heart broke for him and his dad. It was sad, and so kudos to them for that.
One of the reasons, a big reason why I'd wanted to see this movie was because Happy Death Day, the original Purge, I think a couple of movies that I have enjoyed at least a little bit. Were the writers, producers, directors, kind of the creative minds behind this film, did all of those. And so, they did cram a lot. I almost feel like they crammed too much story into this, or, because there's a lot of characters, and this movie is only an hour and 40 minutes. And for a movie that shouldn't be complicated into what it amounts to, sometimes as we go on to this last part that we're about to talk about, I got a little bit like, wait, what? Wait, where are we? I'm like, I shouldn't feel confused. This is not a smart person movie. But it does. It starts to zip along real quickly, and there's a lot happening, and I'm not sure how satisfactorily they are really kind of summarizing this all. So let's try to do what we can with it. So they're all reunited. Marcus and Marky and Lucas. Wow, I made their shipping name Marcus. Marky and Lucas and Olivia are together, and then Olivia gets dared, and the dare actually is to admit a secret that she's been keeping from Marky. So we find out that she was there the night of Marky's father's suicide, that she went to Marky's house and Marky wasn't there and Dad was there drinking, and he basically came on to Olivia and tried to sleep with her, and they got into a fight, and Olivia said Marky would be better off if the dad was dead, and then left. So, of course, the dad killed himself after that, and Olivia couldn't bring herself to tell her friend that she felt responsible for this. So she leaves, and nobody trusts each other, and everything's fucked up. Does this seem like, when you know now, having seen the whole film, was this necessary, though, to the movie at all?
No.
Nope.
No, I don't think it was at all. I felt, up until this point, I didn't feel like there was over complexity of the movie. Like, I was following along just fine. I was fine. All right, yeah, cool. And then she's like, oh, but there's a secret I can never talk about. And I just didn't feel like it was necessary. I mean, we already got enough going on, and we still don't really know yet what's going on with this demon thing. And so it was just another kind of draw out to their fight, I guess. And that, I think they were just desperate to come up with reasons why the two of them would not be in a good place.
But I don't think that it was, I don't think that it was a horrible decision to be in there. It was a kind of did the twist catch you off guard, or that? Did it catch you off guard?
I thought it was going to be that they had sex. I thought it was going to be that she hooked up with his dad. That's what I thought. That's what I thought as well.
Yeah. I totally thought that they were going to go there, and that would have probably been worse than what she said.
Yeah.
Honestly, yeah.
Well, that, and then it would have really tainted her little good girl reputation that she has going. And so I thought, oh, this is going to be like she hooked up with her dad, because her dad was hot. Let's be honest, her dad was hot. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I could see that being like, oh, Mrs. Good Girl isn't so good, hooking up with the dad. So I thought that's what it was going to be. And honestly, I would have preferred it than, what kid is going to tell a parent that they should die? Like, I just don't see that as a real response,
true that. That's true.
I just I wasn't on board with that, and I just didn't think that was a real response that a kid would have to a parent regardless. I could see her fleeing and being upset, but not going, you should die. No.
And that was 10 whole minutes of this film that could have been gone, because honestly, I feel like there's enough heat between the two of them, with both of them being in love with the boyfriend.
Yeah,
exactly. Like, there's enough awkwardness between these two young women that we don't need dead dad and this whole extra 10 minutes of the movie that end up having nothing to do with anything.
Yeah.
But at any rate, so Lucas and Olivia now find an article about the Rosarito mission, where they had played the game, which ended up, of course, was the site of a massacre, which one woman who was a nun was the sole survivor. She was 19 when this happened. So Olivia and Lucas drive out to Tijuana to find this woman, Inez, and she's mute and can only communicate through writing. So she was a nun, and her and the other nuns were abused by a priest. This comes out as she's writing. And so she ended up summoning a demon, which I don't know. Apparently there's no other way to get out of being abused besides summoning a demon. Like, as a nun also, I'm like, I'm sorry, being abused would be horrible, but the only thing worse than that would be to have a demon involved. But whatever, as a nun. Leading to the priest's death, but also a curse comes upon them, because you can't make a deal with a demon without some consequences. So Inez puts an end to this curse by cutting out her tongue and putting it in an urn and reciting an incantation. So this is presumably when Olivia was walking through the mission, she had ended up kicking over what we find out was Inez's tongue inside an urn. Are we interested, or are we rolling our eyes at how the demon actually comes to play in this story?
I probably roll my eyes more at what would be the solution. But I'll hand that one over to Kristi, though. Yeah, it was an eye roll moment, though.
I don't know. I wasn't... I liked that I liked the reasoning. I didn't like the reasoning about it being abuse, but I could see it coming, this thing coming from somebody summoning it. That makes sense to me. Okay, yeah. I didn't think it was that big of a deal. I wasn't that annoyed by the solution. I was glad it pulled Sam back in, because he kind of just was there and then disappeared, and I wouldn't think that he would be in that much of the beginning of the movie if they weren't going to bring him back in at some point. So then it's clear, all right, he's going to have to get brought back in here and take, and help solve the issues. So, it wasn't like the best plot of fixing the problem, but it wasn't the worst either. Let's just say that. I wasn't irritated by it. It just wasn't, could have been better, I guess. That's what I'll say.
Yeah. So, throughout this film, they've been trying to locate who they thought was Carter, whose name turns out to be Sam. They find out through the police reports, whatever. And they go to his apartment, and he's holed up in there trying to hide from this curse. And that's another moment that, to me, harkens back to Ali Larter's character in Final Destination. She's the main character throughout the series, because she, at some point, ends up in an asylum, padded room, doesn't have any, encounters with the outside world because she's trying to avoid, being killed. So he's doing the same thing, and they take him at gunpoint, force him back to the mission. And they tell him that basically he has to get down and recite the same thing that Inez said over and over in Latin or whatever, of course, 5 times. But they don't tell him that at the end of it, he has to cut his tongue out. So, of course, all hell breaks loose in the form of Lucas getting his dare, and he refuses to kill either of the girls. So it makes him, you think it's going to make him kill one of the girls, but instead it makes him kill the Sam guy. So, of course, the Sam guy doesn't get to finish ending the curse. So now they have no way to stop this thing.
Let me just say that I thought this part was very suspenseful. I thought they did it right. They still got the frickin' truth or dares going while they're trying to get this guy to read the thing, and he still doesn't know he's got to cut his tongue out, and then they talk him into cutting his tongue out because he's like, this is the only way. And then while this is all happening, the demon's still playing the game. Yeah. So I thought, and then you haven't got to that part, but then she turns it around on him as a trying to find a solution. And I really have to say, I thought that was well played. I got to give them credit for that. That was a good suspenseful moment of shit. This demon's still, trying to kill them while they're trying to trap it. So it was interesting. I give it credit for that.
Yeah, the game starts going kind of faster because there's fewer players left. And, we're seeing everybody get their creepy smile as they're trying to stop this whole thing from happening. But, of course, none of the others can see it. So it is an interesting moment that you're kind of alone. That was kind of a weird thought that I had, is you're kind of alone when this happens. It's like Lucas is realizing that he's going to have to die if he's not going to kill either of these young ladies. And, it's just kind of a solitary moment to kind of accept a fate that nobody else can see or hear or be with you as part of. So, Sam gets killed, and the girls, basically, Olivia gets shot because Marky's supposed to shoot her, but it doesn't kill her. And, she also asks the demon how they can stop it, and the demon says, she dares it and truths it, and it says there's no way to stop it. She and Marky end up running out of mission, being the only 2 alive now, and Olivia starts to record a video. And she says that, this harkens back to the beginning where she has that YouTube channel with lots of followers. And she informs her viewers about the game and its consequences. And she invites everyone to play. And it's seen around the world. And we're starting to see, we as the audience start to see the people who are watching this, their faces start to get that creepy smile. So basically she has doomed the rest of the world to play this truth or dare game.
So they can stay alive.
Her friend.
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah, so they can stay alive, yeah.
Yeah, so just like we said towards the beginning where she had said that she would kill her friends before she'd kill all of Mexico, now she kind of makes the opposite choice. So, Yardley, what did you think about the ending?
Yeah, well, just as we talked about, it kind of, linked up with some of the decisions that she was making when they first started playing the game. It just looks like the whole world is going to be sort of a shit show, so she doesn't have to worry about her turn coming around. anytime soon. You know what? I thought it was okay. Y'all have to understand, when I went into this, I went into it with real low expectations, and then when I saw that it was PG-13, they got even lower. So to be honest with you, it wasn't as bad as I was thinking that it was going to be. And the ending, I thought that it was cool. I guess it leaves room for them to potentially do another. You think?
Yeah, that's exactly what it was. Yep. I think going back a little bit where they're in the mission and Lucas kills himself and because he didn't do his dare, and then I want to call her Lucy, but Olivia tells her friend, choose dare and then don't do the dare. So basically, their friendship's not doing so great, even though they were the bestest of friends, but a lot of shit's gone down and there's a lot of secrets exposed and they're not really on the best of terms. And she's basically convincing her best friend to trust her and choose a dare, knowing that, and then not do the dare, knowing if I don't do the dare, I'm going to die. And so that's kind of an interesting tidbit in that there, the friend Marky does say, okay, I'll do it. And she chooses dare and says, I'm not going to do it. And she, of course, gets possessed by the demon. And again, I keep saying Lucy, Olivia says, truth or dare, that, calls out the demon. I thought that was a kind of a cool concept where she got smart and said, no, you're playing. You said anybody who participates plays. And so she totally called that demon out and forced the demon to take its turn. And of course, she didn't get the answer she was looking for because she asks, how do we end the game? And he says, you can't because the guy's dead. And so I thought that was a good part of it. I thought the ending with the video, effective because they're gonna probably make a part 2. That's a good way to do it. I thought that was dumb. I just was not overly excited about it. And there was a lot of people in my movie theater who had been really quiet up until this point going, that's stupid. So I wasn't alone in that part. I wish the ending would have been a little stronger because up to that point, it was getting me. I was like, oh, wow, now they're getting somewhere. Okay, yeah, that's great. Oh, I'm respecting these parts of it. And then they get to the very end and I'm like, really? That's it? So I wasn't hating the movie up to this point, and I still don't. I just felt like that very, very ending was kind of weak.
Yeah, I didn't mind it. I don't know. I don't mind. I've kind of established before. I don't mind an unhappy ending. And I don't know how else you could get something like that to stop. I guess an unhappy ending would have led with all of them dying, but maybe something happening that would leave it open to a sequel. I'm not really sure, but
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh no, go ahead. Because I was gonna.
I just think at the end of the day, are you really going to choose the entire planet being cursed with this game over 2 people? Even
that shit's going to come back to you at some point too. That's the part. Eventually you're going to end up playing again.
And she just signed her death sentence to whoever, countless people, just so she can live and her friend can live. I get it, but wow, and what a selfish bitch. Sorry, but you just doomed countless people. So it's just,
and I know it's not like you had a boy to fight over anymore.
Exactly. So hey, go join Lucas. You love him so much. So anyway, whatever. I just thought that was kind of selfish.
So your rating then, Kristi?
I'd give it a 6.5. It wasn't bad.
Yardley?
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think it's a 6.5 because they had stuff that kept me in it, and I think that there was more things that kept me in it than more things that took me out of it. So I definitely would probably recommend it to someone to see, to at least check out. So I guess a 6.5 is a thumbs up.
Yeah, I would also actually go exactly with the 6.5, which is what I was going to say before I copied y'all. But I did not know it was PG-13, and honestly, from the trailers, I was like, oh, so cool, it's going to be rated R, because just seeing the brutality level of the violence, like from the trailers, I was like, this is going to be rated R. In the trailers, you see two people fucking, you're like, this is going to be rated R. Yeah, I don't really do PG-13 horror films with little 20-something-year-olds because it's usually quite stupid. So we're lucky that we got a 6.5 out of this. And once again, shame that violence doesn't count apparently towards ratings, but swearing, words that don't actually hurt anybody, and sex always count towards it. But at any rate, that's the mom and me speaking. Yep, 6.5. And I wanted to see, Yarly, do you have ideas of preview for next week? Do we have a sneak peek?
Yeah, we all need to go check out Ghost Stories with Martin Freeman in it, because that just recently came out. Now I think it's saying that it was released in a limited fashion, but I think I think that Regal probably has it or whatever, but I'm kind of interested to see what's up with that. It's got decent reviews, and I'm a fan of Martin Freeman, so I'm kind of curious, especially actually I'll read the movie info. It says 3 spine-tingling tales of terror to haunt your dreams. One's about a debunker of all things paranormal who's devoted his life to exposing phony psychics and fraudulent supernatural shenanigans on his TV show. So I guess it's something about his skepticism, and then there are other tales. So I think that it'll be pretty fun, and seeing this I think it's going to be different mini stories or whatever. It'll keep it kind of fresh, so we'll be able to discuss which ones that we like the best.
Nice. I love Martin Freeman, so this should be awesome.
I'm hearing pretty good stuff about this movie, so that's awesome.
Cool.
Hope we can find it.
So with that, thank you to my co-hosts, and I just want to say you can follow me on Twitter at Rebel Moni and on Instagram at Moni Bear. And I'm going to go with Yardley next because Kristi has all the ending stuff for us. Mr. Yardley, where can we find you?
On Twitter at militant_marker.
Yeah. So real quick, I know I keep plugging these guys, but I just finished up a series on Astonishing Legends podcast that literally freaked me the fuck out. It's an older series from back last Halloween, but like I say a million times, I have a long commute and have been kind of binging their show. The Black-Eyed Children series. If you are interested in podcasts, like I'm hoping you are since you're listening to us, and you're looking for something to give you some serious creep out factor, check out that series. It's long but worth it. They have a lot of interviews of people who experienced it firsthand, and holy shit, like it was really good. I had the chills several times, and one of the stories takes place, it's the main story that it got based off of in a car. So when you're driving and hearing this story about this guy that what happens in a car, these kids come up to you and try to get you to give them a ride or get go in your home. And there's just something about them that's off, and they instill like this fear inside you where you're just scared of them, and it's kind of your brain's like, why am I scared? I shouldn't be scared, they're kids. But something's just not right. And then when you finally kind of look them in the face, you realize their eyes are like entirely black. There's no white, there's no pupil. And there are stories of this all over the place. Yeah, it's happening more and more, it seems like. And at first I thought this was like a creepypasta thing, but it's actually not. Like this, there are literally people that this has happened to, and they share their stories. And it's pretty fucking creepy. I mean, I've had some crazy shit happen in my lifetime, but if I saw some black-eyed kids, I'd probably piss my pants. So anyway, it's such a good series. So if you get a second, check it out. It's Astonishing Legends. Black-Eyed Children. And with that, you can follow us, basically everywhere on the Creepin' It Real Show. Our Twitter handle is @creepin_it. and we'd love it if you would subscribe to our show and give us a review on Podbean or iTunes as well.
Nice. All right. Well, thank you to you guys. I had a lot of fun today.
Yeah, same here.
Yep.
And we will talk to you next week. Thanks, everybody.
Yo, so who that doing these flows galore? Louder than check polka dot galore. It's the bullshit poco, go with broco, corks and car mac, you know the slow raps, effects and produce. Homes is no use, fighting the feeling when we get to dealing. Pack up the speed wagons, stuff the baggage when the zeal unsheathes and slays your dragons. Tagging scribbles can't stop the burner. Simply the best, yes, team the Turner. Mike Cutter, alright the stuff. Up the shit called the piece to Mike Walden. Suckers looking like something in the cat holding, scalding hot when the south skate drop. Cuts tapping we young classic beats, forecast the pop raps a blasphemy. In the body of hip hop, it's atrophy. The reply, I'll supply, you're asking me.